Hello and welcome to episode 19 of Lost in Chronologically Lost, where this time Matthew finds his most relatable character, Shannon.
No, she is. How dare you? I. I know why.
Both asthmatics.
I know why you're saying that, and I'm still offended.
Did you at least like her more of these episodes? I did.
No, I mean she wasn't bad these episodes, but she didn't. I don't know.
So, and also in these episodes, we cover a lot of days because
Yeah.
they just completely skip some.
They're just like, oh, it's been a week at a certain point, and like, huh. Yes.
And see, this is a thing that they will never. This is very early season 1 things because they will never waste a day later. Because if you remember from way back when they were in the 70s, when Saeed was getting, torture interrogated, right? Mm-hmm. He said, I was on this island for 100 days. That's not like they're there for 100 days.
That's not like he wasn't using generic big number. They counted. They were specific.
I think it's technically a little. I think it's a little over 100, but it's basically 100.
Okay.
So they really keep track after season 1.
Nice.
So where do we begin with these episodes, Matthew?
Well, as we will continue to see throughout this first section, we begin with Sawyer being gross.
Yeah, again, I really don't see. I don't see the appeal. I don't. He's not hot enough for his level of assholishness. You have to match.
I had a thought about his appeal later on where I don't relate, but I have a guess. But right now, it's just like you walk in, you walk out from the water completely naked, and you're just like, hey, look at this. It's just like, imagine if he did that but wasn't hot. Well, him doing it while being hot is just as scummy and creepy as that.
Yeah, okay. But now we're getting to the actual plot of this episode, where Sawyer finds Boone snooping through his stash.
Which is, as soon as you see Boone doing it, you're just like, yep, Boone had good intentions and was making a mistake here, I'm sure.
What should have happened is he should have worked with Kate to distract him for at least like a couple more minutes. Not that he would actually find what he was looking for.
Coordinate. I was thinking later in this episode, why do you need to trap Sawyer and interrogate him? Just distract him. He's not gonna always be around his stash. Although I did also wonder, why would you not just ask him? But then I did think, okay, no, Sawyer is consistently an asshole when people ask him for stuff. So I get why Boone just skipped to snooping.
And then we see Jack is giving treatment to Saeed for when Saeed was knocked out. Note, this is never going to happen again. Every other person who gets knocked out from being hit really hard, they wake up with no injuries. Yeah. They're fine.
I don't know. The thing is, I just see this and I think, damn, is he concussed? Is he going to be all right? And I know we've already talked about it. They're going to use getting knocked out a lot. I shouldn't worry about it. But I see Saeed getting hit like that, and I'm like, is he going to get brain damaged?
Right. Also, they note that whoever knocked Saeed out also destroyed the equipment.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's fucked.
Which, I guess they don't want them going searching out in the island at all. They want them to stay in place.
Right. Well, we did meet, another character. Oh, I guess I should say reintroduced to another character who doesn't like people snooping around.
Yeah, but I don't think it was her.
Yeah, no, it's not Rousseau.
Of course not. Anyway.
No, she would have captured Saeed and brought him to the tent just earlier instead.
Yeah. Anyway, Boone comes in and he's injured and it's like, Sawyer. And this episode is where they really play up the whole trying to make the viewer suspicious of Sawyer. And
right.
The funny thing is
can you guess what flashback storyline they were using for this episode?
I knew it was Sawyer, but I did... Because when there's just so many, with Sawyer, it's hard to pinpoint. I guess I figure probably him in Australia shooting the guy.
Nope. It is the one where he is conning that couple But then at the end, when he sees their kid, he walks away.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, because then once you find out he was actually the victim as a kid, then you get the, oh, he doesn't want to do that again. Yeah, that makes sense. I was just thinking that they probably did a lot of the right before the plane flashbacks early, the ones in Australia.
It depends on how juicy the ones in Australia are.
Yeah.
So then we have, another scene with Charlie and Claire.
Of course.
And here's a weird thing. Claire says she wants to stay on the beach. But suddenly later she will be at the caves.
I thought there was a reason.
I think wasn't it Charlie tried to give her a reason, and then she gave more reasons to stay on the beach, and then that scene kind of ended, and he just started flirting with her?
Maybe? Wait, now I have the timeline kind of mixed up. Do you mean after the stupid peanut butter scene, or before that?
Oh, okay. Hold on a damn minute. The stupid peanut butter scene?
We'll get
That's
to that.
That's an amazing scene.
We will get to that. We will get to that. But do you mean before that?
Let's just move on. Because
okay, whatever.
I'm annoyed at you
so,
now. You don't like that scene.
It turns out Shannon has asthma, and she hides it because she's a coward. I think asthma varies in just how bad it is. Mine is not as bad as she was having it. Not remotely, but I guess some people struggle that much.
Well, she was also having asthma mixed with extreme panic attack.
Yeah. So Boone's logic was Sawyer has that book, the one about bunnies. It's a weird book. I never read it. And
I think that's a fan-made... Or not a fan-made, sorry. That is an in-universe book.
Nope, look up Watership Down.
Oh, okay, I forget. One of the things he will be reading is like a fan-made... Or not, I keep saying fan-made. An in-universe book. That they then actually published, and apparently is not very good.
Yeah, but Watership Down, that book, that classic about bunnies, I've never read it, but...
Yeah, again, there was like some book club where people would read all the books that appeared on Lost, and it's like, that's too much for me.
Yeah, I kind of get that, but are the specific books they're choosing to feature really that cohesive of a set? I don't know.
A lot of them try to seem important. I think that's it, pretty much.
Oh, so people were like, what if this book is... The secrets of this book will tell us something about the island? They were worried about that.
I guess. I don't know. It just seems like they picked books that are old and mostly well-known for being, like, high-end books, and that was what they chose.
I mean, wasn't Desmond a Dickens guy?
Exactly, Dickens. That, and they got Stephen King, because Stephen King...
Yeah.
praised them. So Jack is trying to get the inhaler from Sawyer, and
we have the whole thing of Sawyer's like, oh, it's law of the jungle. I own this stuff, even though Jack is like, just it's other people's luggage, and Sawyer calls him a communist.
He's prepared for 2020 Twitter. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. So Jack is like.
Also, I just want to bring out, because as we'll see in these episodes, this shows up more. In the 70s arc, which again is later for the characters, so when Sawyer is, the leader, he says that Jack was a bad leader and everything with all the issues. You just reacted to stuff, and, and people died. And so far we've only seen, that one drowning woman die. But, Sawyer, you were the cause of half the problems. Yeah, so you don't get to complain about how he handled them.
I remember when we discussed that, I said that my prediction was that Jack didn't really mess up. He was just in difficult situations as they tried to survive, and Sawyer had the whole Dharma to exist with. And you said, oh yeah, you told me that I was more right than I realized. Now I'm like, yeah, Sawyer is the source of the problems.
Yeah, you don't get to take the moral high ground. Retroactively, Sawyer. Come on.
Anyway, Jack is ready to fight him, but Kate shows up, and I hate that when Kate shows up, there's like a slight romantic sexual tension between these three characters. I hate that they keep playing.
Yeah, in my notes I have love triangle SMA.
See, I have my notes. I have fucking love triangle moment. But then Kate is like, what do you want? And I said this now and it got worse later, but right now my reaction was like, you said you were kind of bored by early island survival because, it gets so much crazier later. And I was kind of entertained by the early island survival. But the early island drama of stuff like, oh, we need something and Sawyer's hoarding it, that I was not feeling as much. And it only got worse when he fucking said he wants a kiss from Kate. Ugh.
Yeah, disgusting. Disgusting.
There are aspects of this plot that were interesting, but it's so soured by this whole goddamn he wants a kiss thing.
Right, and Kate also basically says he's a tryhard for getting people to hate him.
Oh yeah, because of course.
Yep.
And she's completely right. Like, yeah, he's a tryhard, and he just doubles down on the tryhard thing by showing her the paper and be like, and to try, I mean, what, is he going to try and convince her that he, like, actually has caused people to die and had sex with someone's mother? Like, it's...
Well, he did do that part.
Yeah. But it's like he just doubled down on the tryhard thing, and maybe I would have been fooled if this was the first thing I saw. I don't know. Maybe I would have just picked up on the fact that he was the one who wrote it. But right now it's just like, come on, Sawyer. Come on.
Yeah. Then we have Saeed, going around questioning people, including Locke. And Locke says, well, Sawyer could have knocked Saeed out if he just used a cigarette for the fuse.
Oh yeah, Locke is like, anybody who watches television knows how to improvise a slow fuse. And I'm like, I watch TV. I don't have that skill.
I'm assuming it was on MacGyver at some point.
I've
never seen MacGyver, but that sounds like something he would do.
Yeah, that does.
And now you know it from TV because you know it from Lost.
That is true. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I just have another thought about Sawyer in my notes because they just outright state it later in the episode that he just hates himself and he tries to push people away, justifying it by being a bad person. And I just feel like, I get that you hate yourself. That doesn't mean you have to be an asshole. Look at Saeed. He hates himself. He's not an asshole. Look at me. I hate myself.
I mean, he did torture a guy.
Yeah, but look at me. I hate myself. I'm not an asshole. Not that hard.
Yeah. So Shannon's breathing is getting even worse. Eventually, Jack punches Sawyer to, get it. We have Charlie and Claire flirting.
Yeah, and
because,
I really
she wants peanut butter, and I can't believe you're not gonna like this peanut butter thing.
So
it's amazing.
first, let me just say, I kind of thought like, oh, Jack has punched Sawyer. Maybe this is getting resolved, and no, just like nothing happens from it. Which is because Sawyer's just that much of a stubborn asshole. But anyway, yeah.
Well, yeah, and it was also because everybody starts looking at Jack, and he's like, okay, yeah, we can't just be savages, at least not in public.
But I did find it interesting how Claire said she was the only Australian who loves peanut butter. Because, yeah, isn't that mainly a North American thing?
I think so. I think in Australia they have other things. What do they have?
Same, I think it's not common.
Vegemite and fairy bread and whatever the hell that is.
Vegemite is so bad. Can I go?
I've never actually had it.
Can I go on a tangent here?
I mean, I've heard that you're supposed to use like very little of it.
Well,
is the point?
Yeah, but they will stand by its taste. But let me go on a tangent. I'll try to be fast. I went to a summer camp as a kid. That summer camp had a lot of staff who were British or Australian for some reason. And they liked Vegemite a lot, and Marmite. And all the kids, we were all like, oh my god, this is disgusting. And because of that, just as a fun thing for the camp, there was sort of like a Vegemite challenge where, we would get some reward if you would eat a whole Vegemite sandwich, tasting it all, no holding your nose. And like, people did it, but some people struggled with it because Vegemite tastes like literal poop.
Oh, okay. That's all she said was that she liked peanut butter.
But peanut butter is even worse because I'm allergic to it.
Oh, that's why you didn't like this scene. I get it now.
Maybe there's a bias here.
Right.
But anyway, Jack.
So Shannon is having an attack, and Jack is able to calm her
calms
down.
her down, and Hurley's like, "Whoa, you're like a Jedi," because, of course, they're setting up Hurley to be the Star Wars fan, which I'll appreciate because it led to such a good joke in the 70s arc.
Yeah. Saeed reveals that he's a torturer to Jack by saying, he's like, I thought you were a communications officer. He's like, yes, it was in getting the enemy to communicate. Which actually isn't true. When we go back and watch it, he was a communications officer and then became a torturer.
I think he just...
it was two separate jobs.
I think he just was trying to be poetic, you know? I don't think he was trying to be literal.
It's like the show trying to be poetic, even though, as we'll see, it was clearly two different jobs.
Yeah. And then we get Charlie being an asshole to Hurley, because he's like, you're fat, you're gonna have a secret stash, which I'm sure would have peanut butter for no reason at all, because of course, there's always peanut butter on airplanes.
I mean, there is peanut butter on airplanes.
Wait, what?
Especially if you're flying a trans-Pacific flight, there's probably going to be peanut butter because there's going to be a breakfast.
I guess.
Or a lunch, at least.
Well, Hurley is down a notch on his belt. Proud of him. Good for him. Charlie was being a dick.
Yeah, so basically this is how the actor isn't losing weight, but Hurley, the character, should be.
Yeah,
so how do we pretend that he's losing weight?
Kind of thinking about that, like, the actor... Because it's like, yeah, realistically, he would lose weight whether he likes it or not, but the actor just might not feel like going for that.
So Sun secretly goes to tell Michael that she can help Shannon.
Yeah, because they're still doing this Sun and Michael thing.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, and Saeed wakes Sawyer up with a bar to the face. Damn.
Yeah, and so they're gonna do some bamboo shoot torture.
Yeah, damn. And like the bamboo and Sawyer is like, you haven't ever really tortured someone, and Saeed unfortunately is like, yes I have, and I didn't even want to look at this part. I'm glad they didn't show too much. Just listening to it was kind of painful.
Yeah, then he even threatens to cut out Sawyer's eye, which...
Yeah, well, first Sawyer is like, I'll keep doing it, dude. But then with the eye, Sawyer takes it seriously. And, okay, we've talked before on the show about how torture doesn't work when it comes to interrogating. And...
Well, and clearly this is a prime example of how it doesn't work, because... He says he'll tell, but he does it just to kiss Kate, and also he didn't know where the inhalers were in the first place.
Which, the thing is, okay, I was gonna say, torture just doesn't work, but I also think Sawyer already looks at it as, like, they're in the wild. I think at a certain point, they had to establish dominance over Sawyer for him to not be a complete bitch to deal with. It would be nice to communicate with him, but he clearly wasn't open to it. But the torture itself is just a completely unnecessary step that didn't actually accomplish anything.
Right, so Kate kisses him,
a few things to say. First of all, just, this whole time I'm just thinking, Sawyer, why are you so unnecessarily stubborn? What the hell do you have to gain? It made the whole drama feel kind of stupid, because he really had nothing to gain. And if the entire time he really was just doing it to get a kiss, that's even worse. Second of all, oh my god, the camera lingers on the kiss. Oh my god, the camera just loves it. It's like, they are playing this up for the viewers who are looking forward to this, and I was not looking forward to it.
Yeah, Saeed eventually is like, Sawyer says he doesn't have the inhalers, but Saeed gets mad because he's convinced that Sawyer destroyed the transceiver and knocked him out. So they do some whole fight. He ends up stabbing Sawyer in the arm. So that's fun.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I have more things to say about how much I dislike Sawyer and Kate here.
Okay.
First of all, I guess some people, they just want a bad boy who will force them to kiss them. That is my thought about maybe that's what the appeal was supposed to be. I'm not feeling that here. But
this is such a weird scenario because it's not even forced to kiss. It's like if you don't kiss me, a separate third innocent party will die.
Yeah, but it's kind of, it's like making it's sort of a threat and sort of like a false pretense, which makes it scummy. And secondly, back during the Dharma arc, we had all this thing where Sawyer was, telling Mr. Goodspeed, like, oh, I was in love with this girl and now I haven't seen her in 3 years, and now I'm like, wow, this is his being in love with someone.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Anyway, okay, finally, let's move on. Saeed tackles him, but Sawyer freed himself, fights back, and it ends with him being stabbed.
Yeah. So that's just how that went. Then Sun finally, is giving Michael the plants, and then Jin sees them and is all like, stop talking to my wife. Jack is giving medical aid to Sawyer because he has his arm stabbed, and Sawyer says that he just would have let Jack die, which is like, cool, Sawyer.
Sawyer, like, calls him out, like, oh, you're obsessed with saving everybody, and it's like, yeah, he is. That's not a bad thing.
Kate figures out that Sawyer wrote the letter because obviously
It's the big twist. And it's she just explains for the audience that he wants to be hated. And it's like,
well, you're doing a good job of it.
the thing is, like, this is supposed to make you suddenly sympathize with Sawyer and see his depth. I already saw his backstories. I already know how I feel about Sawyer, and the only new thing is how much of a creep he is towards Kate. And I don't think that's, like, him wanting to be hated. He's not acting that way towards Kate so that people will hate him. He's just horny.
Yeah. Then we have Sun, who's able to actually treat Shannon's asthma with eucalyptus.
Which, is that a thing? Does that, like, just rubbing it on the chest?
Just did.
Because at first, when she was just rubbing plants, I was like, this seems like nonsense. And then when they name drop eucalyptus, I'm like, wait, does eucalyptus do stuff? And so, yeah, I want to know.
Not just plain eucalyptus, but if you boil it and inhale the steam, it helps.
Okay. It's the whole rubbing it on the chest, that seems like it was just a placebo.
Yeah. But they could have boiled it. They have a fire. That's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, the point is to inhale the oil, so you would still get some of the oil,
I guess,
in you.
Yeah. So then we get the stupid Claire and Charlie scene.
This is a cute peanut butter scene. I don't even know. This is such a cute scene. Like, honestly,
He's just like, pretend it's real. Charlie went down in my book for this one, and she...
What? No, come on.
He
goes way up for this.
She does him such a favor by going along with it instead of calling him out for being a dumbass.
They're stuck on an island, and he finds a way to make her feel better for peanut butter. Like, come on.
It's a pregnant woman's cravings are not a feel-better situation. If I had a wife and she was pregnant and she was like, go get me some shrimp because I'm craving that, I would get her that. I would not even...
There is no peanut butter on this island, though.
Yeah,
so what are you going to do?
But just pretending that it's possible, it's a craving. It's not like she just decided she felt like it. Honestly,
oh my God.
maybe it wasn't a pregnancy craving. That's something we should consider, because she said she loved peanut butter. I think it's just that she likes it in general, not that the pregnancy was making her feel like she needed it.
This whole peanut butter scene is cute as fuck. So,
well, maybe I'm just biased against peanut butter. Is that such a bad thing?
Yeah, you're biased against peanut butter. You're biased against Charlie. You're just biased against this entire storyline.
Maybe I am.
Anyway, this is like the defining moment for their whole, kind of relationship. It's like this is where it really starts. Is with this peanut butter.
Yeah. So then, Saeed, he's leaving. Which Saeed leaving is like, I feel bad because, in the end, I don't think he's a bad person. He's just, he's always put in these situations, but he hates himself. He wants to go, but I like the idea of him going to explore the island and see what else is there.
See, here's the thing. Is, obviously, we will see later, he gets captured and just comes back to the main camp. They never bring back up this idea of someone should go walk around the perimeter of the island again.
Aww.
Because if they did, you would find... What would you find? You'd find the foot statue. You'd find... You'd find the almost repaired boat of Desmond. You would find the submarine dock for the others.
Yeah, you would find...
You would be able to, at one point, eventually see the other island, Hydra Island.
Yeah, you'd find the camp that Ana Lucia had set up, even if they left it.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah, because if they just had him go around the island and find nothing, that would have closed off so many options for them, for the writers.
Right. So also then this has a music montage.
Let's just skip
terrible.
over. Let's just skip over.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and then the show will skip over. That was all on day 10. It just completely skips day 11. So now we're on to day 12.
So I have a question. Is like Saeed's stuff during the same episode as just was it the golf stuff?
Oh no, you mean like the first time he learned to torture? No.
No. I mean just this plot line of him meeting Danielle.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you mean.
During this next section, we have a lot of cutting between, Saeed being trapped by Danielle and talking with her, and then
Yes.
the other plot line, which was they play golf and stuff. And
oh no, this was all in the same episode.
I guess I see it, but some of the cuts back and forth did just feel really weird for me, and how harshly the mood changed before the kind of dark side and Danielle stuff and the super lighthearted rest of it.
Well, you also have to think that they would have been broken up by also flashbacks and also by commercial breaks. So
yeah, I guess. This was
2004. The intended viewing experience was with commercials.
Yeah, I was just wondering. So
yeah, but as you'll see, this whole plot line will be, Saeed, he finds
Cable.
It opens with Saeed. It opens with Saeed looking at a picture of Nadia. So can you guess what the flashback plot line was?
The one where he sees her and tortures her.
Yes.
So
that's simple.
And you know what? This is going to come up later, but I'm going to ask about it now since you brought up the flashback. So she leaves at the end of that flashback. He helps her escape. And we have later flashbacks where he's searching for her. But in this episode, he says she's dead.
I have to assume that was because, as we'll see in this episode, I think maybe it was leading you to believe, oh my god, he killed her, but then actually he let her get away in the flashback, right?
But then why does... Okay, that does sound...
I have to assume Saeed is trying to play Danielle, because he's like, oh, you're...
Okay.
The man you love died, the woman I love died too, so hey, we're in this together. It's clearly a ploy.
I'll give it that. He was trying to play her. And the whole bait and switch, like how the Sawyer plot line made you realize he was the one who wrote the note, I do think there's something to appreciate that I don't get to experience it this way, about how it makes you think he killed her and stuff. I think that's cool, but it did confuse me, because I was like, I thought he was searching for her. I thought he was going to America to find her. I don't remember him being told by the CIA that she was dead.
No, he was told by the CIA that she's in Los Angeles.
And
which we know is true because she bought a house there and had it inspected by law.
yeah. So
he finds this wire on the beach. And I will say, here's what happened in my viewing experience. I paused it. I went to go check what episode this was from so I could check what flashbacks were in it. And in trying to load the tab for that episode, my entire computer crashed and wiped out everything. So
how much everything?
Everything. Everything was gone.
Your files, everything on your hard drive?
My whole hard drive was wiped.
So, anyone listening, what you might not know is that David's computer is cursed.
It is. It's cursed. So, anyways, I had to spend the next few days trying to fix that and re-download everything. So for me, there was like a 4-day break. Right here between watching this episode.
And that actually was okay, because I also had to take a break from recording because I had some jaw pain.
Yeah. So, which, it was also good, because this is basically, if you were watching this in the normal viewing order, this is just the start of a new episode here. So,
yeah.
That was fine.
So anyway, him finding the cable, that was just cool. In the end, this is not an important thing for Lost's overall lore, but I could just get in the mindset of not knowing anything else about the island, and you find this mysterious cable, where does it lead? I think that's just a cool hook.
Oh, absolutely. But then we go back to the main camp, and we see Jack doing medical stuff to Sawyer to change his bandages. Yeah. And Sawyer just is such an asshole that Jack just gives up and leaves.
Well, I do think Sawyer does have the right to say, you let me be tortured. But Jack has also right to say no one else wants to deal with you.
Yeah, Kate's still mad that they tortured him, which, I mean, I guess fair, especially considering
Yeah,
it accomplished nothing.
being morally against torture is a very, very fair and understandable position.
And it's even more fair when it was pointless. He never had it in the first place.
Yeah, so
It was literally for no reason. So then we see Saeed, and he sees a tripwire in the jungle,
which is
and he sees it, and he steps over it, and then gets immediately caught in a snare.
yeah,
So,
and he swings in it, and he swings into a branch that stabs his leg, which is like, geez, they are bullying Saeed here.
yeah, Russo's traps are ruthless.
I don't
they
think.
give no
Well,
shit.
I don't think she intended that part. I think that was just literally an accident.
Oh, we will see some of Russo's traps in later things, and it seems intentional.
Damn.
At least intentional that he would get slammed into something. Um,
Well,
then we have a quick scene with the tail section.
yeah, Lucia's mad because he didn't have a bathroom buddy.
Right, this guy Nathan is not following the bathroom
Well,
system.
Yeah, you need a hall pass. But anyway, later they say he took like 2 hours, which is like, okay, that is suspicious.
It is suspicious, but for all the someone has infiltrated us, but we know who that is. It's not him. We know it's Goodwin.
And in the night, some people start nabbing the kids, and
Yes,
she
they
she
take
fights
the
him,
kids.
and that really sucks. And they find the list of names, which is how suspicious.
Yeah, so Anna kills one and finds the list of name. Echo is still not talking. He's still being silent.
Yeah.
Then we have the guy Nathan just randomly acting suspicious for no reason again.
Yeah. Red. He wears a. Wasn't he in a red shirt? Because he's the red herring.
Yeah. And we have, I think Goodwin literally says, "Why would they try to infiltrate us?"
Yeah.
It's like, good one.
And Ana Lucia tells Goodwin, like, you were the one who suggested we keep the signal fire burning. And Goodwin is like, I think it's time we let it out.
Yeah. So then we see Saeed wakes up hours later.
Which, damn, he was just bleeding there for a while. Because I think he ripped it out of his legs, so, like, he'd be bleeding.
Yeah, he gets cut down by Rousseau. Then we see Hurley saying that everybody is too stressed and they need something to do, which is like, yes, Hurley king
gets
move
it.
right here.
But then, it's like the guy is, like, worried that he has a tiny rash. And, like, later he's like, my rash is the size of a grape now. Like, holy shit.
Yeah,
And-
Saeed then wakes up in Rousseau's place. And it's this weird thing where they alter her voice a bunch. And they make it seem like he's being, like there's a ton of different languages. But actually she's just asking, where is Alex in French, English, and Spanish. Which is like, yeah, that makes sense for her to know.
This is...
So it seems more mysterious than it really is.
So this is about how I would expect Danielle to be acting now. Obsessed with finding Alex, certain he's an other. Yeah.
So then we move on to this next episode, and we have Ethan who's going hunting with Locke. It's like, well, yeah, he would know how to hunt as an other.
Yeah. And Walt really wants to learn how. And Michael just wakes up and is like, no, you aren't. Which, okay, if I was Walt at that age, yeah, I would be like, hell yeah, teach me how to hunt. But he is too young for it.
Yeah, if I was Walt, I'd be like, oh, I want to go. And if I was Michael, I would be like, hell no, you're not going.
I also think that, like, you could totally make an arrangement to teach him a little, because it's, like, it's safer to let him do it supervised than to just...
Yeah, or if you just go, like, the three of them, Walt, Michael, and Locke, and go out together like that. I mean, Michael could use knife-throwing skills, too.
Yeah, there's no reason not to. I mean, you say people need stuff to do, Michael could use training with a knife.
Yeah, so Saeed is being tortured because, the tables have turned.
And he explains the truth, and she's like, no, screw you, you're another.
Which makes sense, given everything she's been through, right?
So she uses a specific wording here, which we see a lot more of later as they talk, but she is like, the others. And it feels like the writers and J.J. Abrams, they were just saying the others as a general term, and then that morphed into the literal name of the group later on.
Well, yeah, the others never call themselves the others, I don't think.
Yeah.
Unless, I think the only one who says that is Juliet, because, I mean, come on, she's basically forced to be there. She doesn't really...
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's funny to me how, like, here it's being used as a regular noun, and then later it's just being used as a blatant proper noun.
Yeah, it just kind of became, people call them the others for so long that it's like, well, yeah, let's just call them the others.
Yeah. But I also was wondering here, had J.J. Abrams even thought that far ahead when he...
Oh, J.J. Abrams never thinks ahead.
He had her say, I know what you are, and then they sort of play it here a lot like, are there others on the island, or is she just crazy? And there's a lot of is she just crazy, and I started to wonder, like, are we even going to get the others this early, which...
Well, okay, I think he had at least planned for the next episode, which would show someone.
We did actually get it, which I was happy with that ending. But while watching it, I was thinking, like, are we going to see the others at, like, the end of the season? Or, like, you know, how much is it going to milk this? Are there other people on the island or not?
Yeah, she also asks about Nadia and everything.
Yeah. And
Russo needles him. He's like, oh, if you were part of a plane crash, why are you walking through the jungle by yourself and everything? And it's like, it makes sense, but you need a lot of context to understand why.
I just like that he says he was a soldier, and I realized after a moment, like, I don't think she knows what the Gulf War is.
No, she would not.
Yeah.
She would not know that.
Which is, it's not important. I thought it was neat.
He also says Nadia is dead, just to try and, I guess...
Yeah, which is, if it's
sympathy or
if
something.
it is a ploy, then, like, smart move, I guess.
It has to be a ploy, because in this episode, in the flashbacks, they reveal that she's alive.
I thought it could be implying that he knew from later circumstances that she died after that. But, yeah, I guess it is a ploy.
Yeah, I mean, later in at least this season, they will have the whole CIA plotline. So, like, they... seemed like they planned for her to be alive.
Yeah. Alright, well...
And,
I did think, like, you know, Danielle, you could just go down the beach and see the people he's talking about and believe him. But I get that...
Yeah, he could literally be like, there is plane wreckage. Walk down the beach and you will see it.
But I get that... But first of all, wasn't it, like, 2 days walk to get there?
Yeah,
and second of all,
it was 2 days of walking.
like, in the end, she just stays alone and she doesn't go to meet up with them because she's so used to being a crazy hermit that I don't think she could handle it. So I get why she wasn't just being like, oh, I'll go find your people.
Yeah, we have Michael who's making plans for the cave's infrastructure, which would be cool if the caves were going to be anything ever.
But he engineered a way to keep the showers separate from the drinking water, and also he drew it very well, and it's like, it's nice to see some respect for him as an artist.
Yeah, and then we get the good reveal of this episode, which is Hurley made a golf course.
Yeah, it's the only problem is that golf is a lame sport.
Hey, if you're on an island with nothing to do, it's the most interesting sport there is.
You do have those giant meadows on that part of the island.
Yep.
But yeah, it's not, and there's a funny bit of dialogue where it's like, you know, it's better than, you know, being hunted by polar bears or something. And Michael was like, polar bears? And Charlie is like, you didn't hear about the polar bear?
It's funny that you sometimes forget that all the characters don't know everything, especially when it's not even meant to be kept secret.
Yeah, it's just like
we just didn't tell them about the polar bear.
Yeah, just the information spread around and it didn't make it to everybody.
Yeah, Rousseau shows Saeed her music box and he says he can fix it, but he needs his hands free to fix it, obviously.
So she sedates him.
Yeah, with a really dirty looking needle, I must say. Like, that is, I would not want that going underneath my skin.
And also, for a moment, I wondered if it was truth serum, just because we saw that happen to Saeed before, and I was like, jeez.
No, they didn't repeat it that blatantly.
And then we get the scene of Michael and Jack talking super seriously, and then it's just about what golf club he uses.
Yeah, it's, people like something to do.
Yeah, and I was thinking, like, you're making Jack and Michael play golf when it's like, I feel like of all the people who need something to do, it's not the ones who are really getting stuff done, although they could use it to stay sane, But I thought
they needed the stress break.
They needed the stress break. But then I thought the whole point was for all the other random people, the extras, the NPCs on the island, like the old...
Well, they all got to take a turn later.
They come later, but I would have thought that's who you'd get first, because the whole idea was keep the guy from obsessing over his rash, which he does show up, and it's funny that he's like, you guys are playing golf, and you worry he's going to be offended that they're not being serious when they have to survive, but then he's just like, can I play? So it does work exactly as Hurley wanted it to.
Then, Rousseau has set Saeed up in a place where he can be captured and still use his hands. And, And so here's the thing. Rousseau will give her version of the backstory, which is different than the backstory we saw.
She's crazy. First of all, she's crazy. Second of all, they definitely did not plan that it was a smoke monster thing at the time.
And also, again, the whole thing with Jin being there in the backstory, it was supposed to just be a normal backstory episode that got cut due to season 4 having the writer's strike, and so they had to shove it into season 5 with the time travel.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'll just take Rousseau's word for most of it here. Like, let's just say that this is what happened. It did take 2 months. It did take whatever.
Yeah.
Something I will say I got wrong in when we actually saw this with, young Danielle, is I said that, Smoke Monster killed them and was masquerading as them. I was wrong, and I should have known I was wrong because you see the actual bodies of the people that Danielle had to, kill. That's not what happened. So, I'll just say that. That's not what happened.
Okay then. Not sure exactly what you mean, but maybe I will eventually.
Yeah, no. The Smoke Monster did not kill those people.
Now when I think about it, I'm starting to get confused then.
See, here's the thing. This is actually a mystery that hasn't been revealed yet. So,
okay then.
What exactly happened to them? You'll have to wait and see.
She was talking about them being carriers of something, and I thought she was just interpreting it as this kind of virus that makes you crazy.
Yeah, she says it was a sickness.
Which I thought that was just her, being wrong because she had no way of knowing, but now I'm not sure.
And she also mentions the Black Rock, which Saeed obviously doesn't think is a ship. He's like, what? What's the Black Rock? What is...
Yeah.
You'd assume it was some large black rock, but...
and she also...
Nope, it's a...
She also says she hears whispers in the jungle and stuff, and I have no idea what that is still.
Right. You'll see, Saeed will hear them later in this.
Okay.
But she thinks it's the others who are whispering. And here's the thing. It's not the others who are whispering, but I can understand why she thinks that, because the writers thought it was the others whispering for a long time, to the point where in season 5, when Ben steals her baby, he says, when you hear whispers, run away.
Yeah.
Like...
Because I remember you told me when we watched that it made no sense.
Yeah, like eventually they will reveal what the whispers are, and it has fuck all to do with the others. It's so annoying that they set it up like this. And also, she says she hasn't seen anyone else since she landed here, and it's like, really? You didn't see Ben when he took your baby?
Yeah.
Like, I get that it was dark, and you could say, well, I didn't see him. But you saw a man taking your baby. Like, you're not going to forget that.
She's crazy on some level, and they're definitely... They're really playing this as she might be insane, when then she's right that there's others.
Yeah, so Boone comes to the beach to bring news of a golf course.
Shannon, of course, wants to play. And all I thought here was, Shannon's going to get cancer from how much she sunbathes.
This is 2004. People didn't care about that. And Kate is like, oh my god, Jack's playing golf. And Sawyer's like, yeah, Doctor playing golf. What a story. And it's like, yeah, fair enough, honestly.
And Sawyer's just weird with her. Why does she smile at him when he has basically sexually assaulted her twice, arguably?
I hate it so much.
Yeah. Well, Saeed fixed the thing, and he's like, let me go, and then we get the whole trope of, I can't let you go, you have to stay here with me where it's safe.
And also she needs someone
yeah.
to be there after she's not interacted with anyone for 16 years, like.
Yeah.
And then a polar bear starts making noises.
Yeah.
And Russo says there's no such thing as monsters, which she knows is not true. Like, she knows there are monsters. She saw one.
Yeah.
So that's weird.
But Saeed...
I guess maybe she doesn't think of it as a monster. She thinks of it as just like a sickness thing, I guess. Yeah. So eventually Saeed breaks out. He steals her map
Which is nice.
and her gun. But he leaves his picture of Nadia.
Damn,
so
that's sad. And now we get a thing of Walt showing up to the golf, and Michael's sorry, and he's like, you can play golf. But then as soon as they're like, oh, it's your turn to swing, Michael, he just forgets about Walt. That's bad parenting there.
I don't know. They just were having fun playing golf.
When they say, Michael, it's your turn to swing, what you do is you say, hey, Walt, you go do it.
Right. And Saeed sneaks up on Rousseau and points his gun at her, and is like, hey, you put your gun down. And she doesn't put hers down. She aims it at him. So he pulls the trigger, and...
Yeah, so she removed it on purpose as the trick, and that was what explained why that was the case back with Robert. And we get the whole twist like, oh, wait, she killed Robert. Is she crazy? Did she just go crazy and kill the others, or was she right that they were infected? Which, they're playing it like it could be both, even though we know which one it is.
Yeah. But yeah, she says, oh, you didn't notice the firing pin was removed. Robert didn't notice either. So
yeah,
she's smart. She plans ahead in her own crazy little way.
By the way, she looks totally different from her younger self.
Yeah, this is just what happens when you have to hire different actors for things.
Yeah. But he says that the message was, you'll find me in the next life. And it's weird when we know she's alive, but this helps her. He offers for her to come join with... See, I want to... But...
I should say, one of the things that Rousseau says about killing everyone is she says that they were sick and she couldn't risk the sickness spreading.
Oh, yeah.
And I think she even meant, to outside the island, because she still thought they would be rescued.
Yeah.
So it's like, she was seriously worried. She was like, this cannot leave the island. This is bad stuff.
Yeah. But also, see, I keep on being about to say he wants her to come join him and go live with the others, but I don't mean the others, I just mean the plain gang.
Then she has a thing where she says, no, Alex was my child. And it's like, well, as soon as she says child, and he's been saying he all this time, it's like, oh, it's her daughter.
Yeah.
Even if, instantly.
We have a thing of Sawyer shows up at the golf and they're betting on her against Jack. I don't think that even mattered, because then we get Walt going up to Locke to learn how to do knives, to throw them.
Yeah. And then we get a scene of Saeed hearing whispers. So that's something.
Yeah.
And that stuff happened on day 13. Skipping day 14 and going right to day 15.
Claire... We get a Claire dream sequence, which was obviously a dream sequence.
Yeah, it's a whack dream sequence.
She's not pregnant. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not super into the trope of you have the dream sequence that directly shows your anxiety. She has, the guilt of wanting to give the baby away, or can she handle it? She sees Locke with cards saying you gave him away, and Locke has creepy eyes. And she goes and finds a pool of blood.
You see, also, I remember watching this first season on DVD and watching the whole Saeed one and being very invested. And then this episode came on, and suddenly I was not as invested as I was.
I wasn't super invested in this one either. And there's kind of a few small reasons why. One of them is that I'm just not that into this kind of dream sequence thing. I'm gonna be honest. When she was going through the blankets, she found blood. I laughed.
Yeah, so can you guess what the flashbacks for this
We got the psychic telling her she needed to come here. When she is with Charlie later, there is even a cut where it slowly zooms in and we hear the music cue where I know it was cutting to the psychic telling her she had to go, but it just skipped that because we're chronological, baby.
And so the dream or the nightmare was so intense that she dug her hands into her palms to the point of bleeding. We get a very quick scene with the tail section where Nathan wants to stop walking at this stream, which I'm not sure if it's meant to be the same stream in the show, but it's clearly the same stream from the 70s.
I have in my notes, I have seen this exact river before being used.
Yeah. They just shot it at a different angle to make it look slightly different.
Yeah. And Kate is chilling on the beach. She's letting herself sink into the sand as the waves come in and out. I've done that. I've done that.
Oh yeah, same. It's a fun thing to
Yeah.
do.
You know, I'm not a huge beach guy. There's a lot of stuff I just find annoying about beaches, but that's one of the fun things to do.
Well, you're from the East Coast, so that's not a very nice beach, as I
We have nice.
take it, right?
No, we have very nice beaches. It's just that the water's really cold.
No, yeah, exactly. But if you want to go to a nice beach, you got to go to like the Caribbean or Mediterranean.
Okay,
or something,
first of all,
it's a nice warm beach.
Okay, first of all, the beach itself can still have interesting, nice things about it with the sand and building things in the sand, even if it's cold, even if the water's cold. Second of all, you live somewhere colder than I do.
Yeah, but I'm not near a beach.
Yeah, which frankly, you
I'm near a lake, and lakes just suck on the whole of it.
You have even less reason to talk about appreciating beaches.
Well, I can appreciate beaches because I've been to good ones.
I've been to good ones too, both in the Northeast and in warmer places.
All I'm saying is I've seen those Northeast beaches. I wouldn't want to go in them.
Well, I wouldn't want to go in negative 40-degree weather.
Well, nobody does. That's why everybody here wants to move.
Anyway, Saeed has been gone for like a week, which is just like, okay, we skipped a lot.
Not a week. I think it's been...
No, they say a week.
They say a week. It's been like 5 days.
Okay. They're just rounding up.
5 days, including like the 2 days that they skipped and the 1 day where they skipped 16 hours of a day.
So then Charlie is with Claire and they're having tea and they're like, oh, that's what separates us from the Yankees. We have tea because they're, goddamn Brits.
Come on, this is another cute scene for them. Like,
and Charlie talks about the dream he has. I don't care what your dream was, Charlie.
Yeah, I mean,
and he basically.
And Claire thinks she really was attacked, which I mean, again, they're trying to play if she's crazy or not, but. We know Ethan is there, so...
We know Ethan is there, but I'm not sure why he would have done that.
Well, yeah, she says she got injected by
With
something.
What? And Jack said there was no mark on her, right?
Right. Here's the thing. This plotline seems really interesting. They will resolve this plotline in the worst possible way later.
Like the plotline of the others trying to steal her baby or the general pregnancy plotline?
Yes to all of that. Like, just...
I mean, I was wondering, are we really going to have...
You'll see when we get there, but it's fucking stupid.
I was wondering if we were going to have a whole baby-raising plot on Lost, and maybe they would sidestep by having the others take it. I don't even know. But, yeah, Hurley... Also, I had a guess here of who it was. Okay, obviously Ethan was a big possibility, but I had a guess here of who it was that was doing something to her in the middle of the night. I thought it could be Boone just trying to help in a really stupid way.
Oh my god.
Because that is such a Boone thing to do.
Right. Then we see Hurley saying that they need to make a census, which is
Yeah.
like... They dismiss as kind of like, yeah, whatever, but it's actually a very good idea
yeah.
considering what we know.
Yeah, it works out very well in the end. It's a great twist. I mean, we knew it would be the case, but it was still like something I can appreciate as a good twist. But he just thinks they need to... he talks about needing the law. He asks Locke, and he talks about what Locke was doing in Australia, and he gives this whole "it found me" thing. And we get Jack saying, like, maybe nothing happened. I mean, honestly, we know there are others on the island, but
But that was... She did have a very lucid dream,
I would honestly have assumed she just dreamed it.
I mean, we did literally get to see a dream, so...
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Then we get... Hurley's going around, and he talks to Ethan, and we get Ethan's full name, which is Ethan Rom, which is an anagram for other man.
Oh, that's good.
Lost loves their anagrams,
All
I
right,
will say.
then. Well, he says he's from Ontario, and Hurley is like, "Oh yeah, that's nice."
Did you?
And then,
excuse me, Ontario?
Ontario? I don't know. I don't care.
Yes, Ontario. Oh my, Ontario.
It literally doesn't matter to me. Hurley tries to think of a compliment for Canada, and he can't think of one, and I can't think of one either.
Shut up. Jack gives Claire, a sedative to take to calm her down. She storms off because she's like, no, that's... It was real.
I was really trying to offend you just now by saying there's nothing good about Canada.
Yeah. We have Hurley checking in on Boone and Shannon, trying to make a whole census thing and ask questions.
Boone points out.
And I just have to say, this was such a weird. It's such a weird thing to see in 2021. This thing where Boone's like, "Oh, I don't want you getting all my personal
Patriot
information."
Act.
And Shannon goes, "Yeah, he's a liberal."
Yeah,
and I'm like, how things have changed.
2021 thing right there. That's not how I use the word liberal, but he is right. I mean, comparing it to the Patriot Act, that's something that's still true in 2021. The Patriot Act is some messed up stuff.
It is, but I think the positions of people have really switched on information gathering in that sense.
I feel like let's not get directly political, but I feel like information gathering as like a political thing, that isn't even one of those things where there's like a split along party lines. That's one of those things where there's like a huge mess of opinions.
Well, yeah, I even think I see a lot more people on sort of the left side of politics who agree more with like, oh, there should be no anonymity on the internet and things. And I'm like, okay, hold on, that's.
I don't feel like I see. I feel like I see a spread of things on both sides.
And Hurley mentions that Claire thinks she was attacked.
Shannon.
And so Shannon is like, I'm so not moving to the rape caves.
That is such a Shannon thing to say.
Yeah, but I love it. I thought it was hilarious.
It was funny. But then Boone points out they can just use the ship's manifest, which is like, oh yeah, they can. That's a good idea. And Sawyer has it.
Oh, Sawyer has it. But Hurley is able to get it for no cost. He gets it instantly.
That was a great scene. He's just like, I'm going to be real with you. You could do your bullshit where you tell us to fuck off, or you could just give it to me. And he's like, you could use the points, and he is entirely right.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's like, of all the people to deal with Sawyer, Hurley is the one who, like, really knows how to get what he wants from Sawyer. It's hilarious.
Okay, so I've, of course, been re-listening to our podcasts as we actually publish them. And one of them that we put up it had the flashback arc. It had the Dharma arc. And there was a scene I talked about where, like, I really enjoyed Hurley's attitude where he was talking to Pierre Chang, where Pierre Chang was making the threats to him, and he's just like, yeah, sure. He's unfazed. And I feel like we got some of that similar attitude with Hurley here. Like, if Sawyer tried to pull his whole, oh, what are you going to give me? Oh, why should I help you? If he tried to pull that with Hurley would just be like, dude, I don't care. Just give it to me.
Yeah. No, you have a scene where Claire is mad at Charlie because he's also trying to just calm her down and not believing that her dream was real.
Claire's like, oh, you just like the idea of rescuing me. And I'm like, Claire, this is not Jack. This is Charlie. He is not trying to rescue you. He is horny for you.
There is a level of rescue and responsibility still, I think, there, especially given everything we've seen in
I'll give Charlie this. He's no Sawyer. He's not just horny. He is, like, beginning to romantically care for her, which has something.
You don't do that peanut butter thing if you're just horny for Claire.
So I'll give it that.
Come on, that's actual feeling.
But even then, it's more than just wanting to rescue her. She's being unfair to him here.
Right. And then she goes into contractions.
Of course, which I think it was obvious immediately that this would be false labor. This wasn't going to be it.
Right, and he says a thing, he's like, oh, if I can take drugs, I can deliver a baby.
Yeah, which is...
And then she's like, what? And he's like, okay, you know what, don't worry about it.
He's like, well, I'm a drug addict. Well, used to be a drug addict. It's such a Charlie moment.
And of course, the person he runs into to go find Jack is Ethan.
And I'm just like, oh man, is Ethan even gonna go for Jack? And also...
Nope.
Well, both that and, like... If he gets Jack, is Jack gonna know where they are because Charlie isn't gonna be there to say the location? I thought that was maybe they were on the path they always use between the beach and the caves. Maybe, but I don't know. I thought that was a little foolish by Charlie.
Right. Okay. And Claire tells Charlie about the psychic, and it's like, oh my god, the psychic knew about the crash.
Yeah.
Even though apparently he's also a fake psychic.
Oh my god, that's still just so dumb.
I looked into this more. And apparently, so in the Echo flashback with the psychic, there is a deleted scene, and again, the creators have said if it's a deleted scene, it's not canon, it's not part of the show. What's part of the show is If it aired on TV, oh, it's part of the show, that's canon. If it's deleted, it's a gray zone, right? But I'm going to take this gray zone and say it's canon. Because apparently there's a deleted scene where he mentions that he is, scamming an Australian woman into giving up her baby to an LA couple for cash. So it was just a cash thing.
Oh my god.
Again, it's a deleted scene. Maybe it's not true.
See, the thing
I'll take it as true.
The thing is, that still makes it worse. That answers a question, but it doesn't change how ridiculous the inconsistency is.
Yeah. I guess maybe that's also why they just didn't put it in the show.
Yeah, that may have been wise. You don't want to put it. You want to put as little attention as possible onto your ridiculous plot hole.
Right. So Claire comes down and the contractions stop.
Also, Charlie...
And then Saeed stumbles back into the cave camp.
Charlie points out... Charlie is what makes Claire realize the psychic planned this. And I just want to suggest... I have no idea why the baby is important, why the baby needed to be raised by her, why even doing that on the island would be important. But I don't think the Lost writers had any idea either at this point.
No, they absolutely did not.
And I almost want to say, maybe they'll have a creative idea to explain it, but that seems like a really difficult thing to answer. If I was writing it, I would have no idea what to do with that plot setup.
They already have one special child who's magical in the show.
Yeah.
I'll say the most interesting thing that her child ever does is be born.
It's I would half expect them to just kill off the baby. Except, first of all, they're not going to kill off a baby and piss off the audience like that. And second of all, that would completely fail to deliver on the setup that her raising the baby is important.
Yeah, so, this isn't like with Vincent, where the writers are like, no, Vincent will live to the end of the show. This is a network television show. They're not going to kill a newborn infant.
Yeah. So, Saeed, he's on his way back, and... he shows up to Jack and he's like, I found the French woman, and he also says, we aren't alone. I guess, is it because the whispers that he does believe that there are others that exist?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is something that, even having seen plenty of others' backstory, I appreciate the way they constructed this reveal, because we get the others existing, and then we get... the ship's manifest... Also, this whole time, I was thinking, oh, Ethan's gonna pull some shit. He's not gonna get Jack. But we get the reveal that the others exist. We get the, oh shit, the manifest doesn't have Ethan, which is... That is, a great, really well-used, well-done plot device. But then we get Ethan showing up, being like, hello there, to Claire and Charlie. So, I really like this.
Yeah, where do you think this is going to go next immediately, based on that cliffhanger? The
thing I like so much about this is that I don't know. This is an effective cliffhanger. I'm enjoying not knowing because, there are so many ways it could go. Ethan could just read the situation, see that she's walking, and realize she's not giving birth anymore and not give it away, but then he has to explain why he didn't get Jack. Or, what else? He could give it away. He could say, I'm taking your baby, and, that's what gives him away. Or he could just try and maybe suddenly say, hey, we need to go over here and, lure them somewhere where they can be grabbed. Or he could give himself away, but then decide, and then realize that it was a mistake. He could double down. I don't know. There's a whole lot of possibilities. I don't know what he's going to decide.
So do you have anything else left to say for this episode?
Well, they weren't the best episodes. The Saeed stuff was great, but the whole Sawyer drama was just a pain. And...
yeah, the best parts of these episodes were Saeed and Rousseau and the golf course.
Yeah. And the Claire stuff, it wasn't awful, but it wasn't my thing completely. I think just the whole pregnant woman plotline, I'm just kind of feeling like it's one of those things that was a great idea at the start, ooh, one of the people on the island is pregnant, what are they going to do about that? But then the further...
It's a very J.J. Abrams
Yeah.
style of thing.
The further...
Except, here's the thing. I'm sure you've seen this, but J.J. Abrams' whole thing is the idea of the mystery box.
Yeah, I know.
Never open the mystery box, right? Here's the thing. When the mystery box is a pregnant woman's womb, you kind of have to open it
Yeah.
at some point.
But the thing, it's just like, the further you get, the more I think, like, wait, is this actually gonna be interesting at all? Not really. Because a baby is a new character who can't talk. So they can't be interesting. You can at least
I wouldn't even say the baby I will say, the baby barely acts as a character. The baby acts as
Yeah.
a plot
Exactly.
device.
I mean, they can't be a character because they can't talk. They're a plot device. And it's like the baby is a plot device where just, we have to protect the baby. We have to ensure its safety. Is someone going to try and take the baby? That's all. So, like, yeah, it's just like, the further you get, the more you realize this isn't actually a very good thing. So, because of that, I wasn't that into the pregnancy, and the Sawyer stuff was a pain. But I like this ending because they did a good job of building up to the reveal that the others are out there. I'm liking where this is going now, and I hope we start to see more with the others soon.
So, I hope you join us next time, where we will be covering episode 34, October 7th to 13th, day 16 to 22, and episode 35, October 13th to 15th, day 22 to 24.